Hey guys, what's up? My name is Anthony, and welcome to another edition of BnA Sports Talk. Now, yesterday I tried something different, Dear Russell Wilson, and that night at 12 o'clock Pacific time, not Eastern time, Russell Wilson announced that he had a deal that he signed. So I'm going to give my reaction to it. One, as far as yesterday's video, I said, we want you next year. I know there was a franchise tag, but I thought maybe the Seahawks would give him the Le'Veon Bell or Antonio Brown treatment, or something like that would happen where he gets more undervalued, or they just let him go because he's more of a problem than what they can have. Honestly, Russell Wilson, I don't think was that type of guy in retrospect, so I think that's my fault guessing that. As far as the contract, 4 years, $140 million with $65 guaranteed. He's making $83 million or $84 million about in the first year. Good for him. But this takes him to his age 35-year season. I think this is a big mistake because, I don't know, it's not a long-term deal. And if you're the Seahawks, you're not committed to him long-term. So when he gets off the deal, he's 35. What is he going to do next? Is he going to sign another deal? I said, you know what? You should get 8 years, $25-a-year guaranteed, even though the cap's going up. You have all the money guaranteed. You have $200 million guaranteed, but we have you for the rest of your career, and we'll surround you with everything that you need, and we're committed to you. All these 4-year contracts aren't, I think something has to give. At some point, something has to give. Russell Wilson is a top-tier quarterback, but something's going to have to give where a team gives up their franchise guy for nothing. I'm happy for Russell Wilson, obviously. Let's see. He wouldn't have fit with the Giants, not because of Golden Tate or anything like that, because we would have to give so much up for him. I stressed that in the video. We're going to have to give so much up for you. That's why we want you next year, or when Seattle doesn't want to pay you anymore. Seattle would realize after this year, I think, after the season ends, that we can't go forward with Russell Wilson because we don't have players to surround him. And Russell Wilson would want to get out because it would get really bad. Trust me, next year it's going to get really bad. The Seattle Seahawks, mark my words, on this date, April 16th, 2019, the Seahawks will not win more than 6 games this year. I said that last year, but this year more than ever, I think, Russell Wilson's reminding me a lot more of Tom Brady when it comes to it. It's like, oh yeah, this is the year that they suck, but really, what is Seattle going to do in the offseason? Frank Clark, I think he's going to stay, but you look at that offensive line, and Max Unger isn't playing anymore. Ever since Max Unger left, it's been that whole offensive line has been in shambles. Seattle hasn't proven that they could protect Russell Wilson. You have Doug Baldwin that's getting injured every 5 seconds. Russell Wilson's the most reliable target, getting injured all the time. You look at it, Earl Thomas isn't on the team anymore, even though he was injured a large part of last season. The whole Legion of Boom is gone. You have Michael Bennett kind of leading this whole team to the kind of next level with KJ Wright. Them two are like the only two left. Oh yeah, sorry, I meant Bobby Wagner, not Michael Bennett. Michael Bennett's on the Patriots. But anyway, so you have that defense. You have Shaquille Griffin. You have his brother too. This whole defense thing, they kind of overperformed last year. It doesn't scream greatness to me. They have 1 first-round pick, and then they have 3 more picks for the rest of the draft. Imagine any team would have given you 3 first-round picks for him. You could have built your team all over again. I don't think any teams this year were kind of screaming for a quarterback. Okay, let's move on to news that broke late last night about Eli Manning and the Giants. So there's a report that Eli Manning pretty much knows at this point, not that he was just guessing or he was suspecting, but he pretty much knows at this point that the Giants are looking to draft his successor, blah, 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 whatever that means. So I think this can mean one of two things. One, Eli Manning is up for eventually down the road doing this challenge, being up to this challenge like next year, or he knows this year that they're going to draft a quarterback. Now, if it means this year, that means they're going to be drafting a quarterback in the first round. No way are they going to draft a quarterback in round 3, 4, 5, because they already have Kyle Lauletta in, and eventually you bring on all these talents, Davis Webb. I forgot they had a quarterback the other year. They have Kyle Lauletta now. Eventually, picking all these 4th, 5th round draft picks, you're gonna have to go and get your guy. Now, if you get your guy, you're gonna have to get him right away. When was the last time you heard of a successful quarterback that was passed up on the team only once, and they picked them either with their 2nd pick in the first round or their 3rd pick in the 2nd round? Since he's Daniel Jones. He's in the same boat I think as Dwayne Haskins, but I think Dwayne Haskins has the higher upside. They're visiting them again this week. I don't think Dwayne Haskins is going to be available at 17, but I think Drew Lock and Daniel Jones has a possibility to. Now, if you know your guy's the guy, just pick him. Don't be horsing around. Unless he's a Jarrett Stidham or Will Grier and you find value in the later rounds, that's when you pick a quarterback then. So, if I was a Giants fan, what would I do? My mock draft has Ed Oliver, Andre Dillard. Then with the third pick, I have like Ja'Kai Polite or somebody like that, because Ja'Kai Polite is dropping down everyone's draft boards. I think we could steal him there. And then later, in the later rounds, 4th or 5th, I would get a Jarrett Stidham just in case. But the only problem with that is you already have Kyle Lauletta and Alex Tenney on your team. You signed Alex Tenney again. So if they're going to have to go quarterback, they're going to have to go big. They're going to have their guy. And if they think it's Daniel Jones, good. I don't think Washington is going to pick him early. I think both Drew Lock or Daniel Jones is going to be there. But at the same time, I don't know. If he's there in the beginning, I'd say take him. Kind of like how there's no good quarterbacks in the second round. If you know he's your guy, just take him. If you're sold on Dwayne Haskins, I was high on Dwayne Haskins, then I was low on Dwayne Haskins, and now my stock on him is rising. Not because I think he's some great player, but I think he has room for improvement. He's a result of his system. The thing with Dwayne Haskins is, no matter what system you fit him in, he's a gifted athlete. And I think he could succeed in everything. He had some flashes, so did Drew Lock. He had some flashes of greatness. And the thing is with Dwayne Haskins and Drew Lock, they're developmental players. They don't start day one. And that's what the Giants want ultimately, right? So I'm of that mindset. I won't be mad if they draft Dwayne Haskins number 6th overall. Or I wouldn't mind if we wait till next year and just get Jake Fromm, Justin Herbert, or the best quarterback available. Because I think there will be more options next year for the Giants to get. And, yeah, I think this should be the Eli Manning's last kumbaya. We thought it would be last year, but you have Saquon Barkley. You're going to start getting all the pieces, so when you bring in a new quarterback, they succeed. Eli Manning, I think he's still a pretty good quarterback. His just eyes aren't downfield anymore. But as the season progressed, his eyes started to become downfield. What do I think the Giants are going to do? I'm really confused. I really don't know. I think that they're going to pick a quarterback with 17. That's my gut feeling. They're going to pick Drew Lock or Daniel Jones with 17. That's my gut feeling, because round 2, usually good quarterbacks don't get drafted in round 2. When's the last time you're a franchise guy being drafted in round 2? No, it's usually 1st or it's 3rd to 5th. That's where you find the most value. Usually, if a guy's your guy, you're not going to draft him in the 2nd round. You're going to wait till the 1st. You're not going to wait at all. You're going to draft him in the 1st round because you know you're his guy. He's your guy. And, yeah, so usually quarterbacks don't get drafted in the 2nd round. You saw that with RG3 and Kirk Cousins. RG3 was drafted number 2 overall by the Redskins, and then they also drafted Kirk Cousins in the same draft 4. Now, do I think the Giants could do like a mid-tier and that? Maybe, because they do have 12, maybe even 13 draft picks. I'm not sure what the final number is going to be. I did a mock draft for them yesterday. So, as it stands now, I think they're number 6, they're going to drop Ed Oliver, Quentin Williams, whoever drops them, because a defensive player is going to drop to them. Maybe because somebody trades up for Haskins, or maybe just because there are a lot of defensive players available. Then, with number 17, they're going to pick a quarterback. And then with number 37, they're going to pick a cornerback. Hopefully, Byron Murphy, DeAndre Baker, Greedy Williams drops to them. But if not, I don't think a wide receiver is going to be a good wide receiver is going to be available, or a value wide receiver is going to be available at that position. I did a mock draft yesterday, and all the value wide receivers were towards the later rounds. I saw so many good wide receivers and running backs in the later rounds that were mocked pretty good and have high ceilings. So I think Giants should look for more skill positions later in the draft, because those guys you could kind of pick up, like your Antonio Browns. There's more success with the later wide receivers than the early wide receivers. You don't your quarterback, you're sold on him or you're not. Now, if the Giants pick him 6th overall, what does that mean? They can still get an offensive lineman at 17. They can also get Clelin Ferrell, Dexter Lawrence, because I think they might drop to that. So you pick best player available at 17, best player available at 37. Now, players that are going to be available at 17 are, like I said, Clelin Ferrell, Dexter Lawrence, Andre Dillard, maybe Cody Ford. But then at 37, I don't think you draft the wide receiver. I still think you draft offensive lineman. Garrett Bradbury may still be available. You may have, as far as defensive end, you might have Ja'Kai Polite. You might have, there's this guy that's rising off draft boards from Louisiana Tech, Jalen Ferguson. He might be available then. I don't think any top cornerbacks will be available then, but you do have Sam Beal and Janoris Jenkins for this season, and I think that's good enough. I don't think they have a gaping hole at corner. I think they can make do with what they have now. Now, what does this mean for the rest of the NFL? I think you're seeing a pattern here. If there's a quarterback that you think that can lift your team to high heights without talent, you pay him. Teams like Matt Stafford, Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins, teams that don't have a lot of talent and your quarterback can't lift you up, you don't pay them. You shouldn't pay them, but they have been paid recently. I think you're going to start seeing a trend where you're going to have really elite quarterbacks get paid and then really mediocre quarterbacks being traded around a lot. Your Kirk Cousins being signed to deals with value, being signed to deals with not a lot of money, well, a lot of guaranteed money, but not a lot of money against the cap. Although the cap is going up, and the quarterback salaries will continue to rise, and Russell Wilson won't be the highest paid quarterback by next year, I think teams that know they have a Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, will pay them. Aaron Rodgers has had talent surrounding him this year. Now you have Preston Smith that got signed. You have you also have Adrian Amos. Let's see. You have a bunch of guys that they brought in this offseason that Aaron Rodgers' contract didn't really affect them. So I think it's a little bit overblown, this whole thing with you can't pay your quarterback big bucks. Well, I think Aaron Rodgers is worth $5 million more than, or $10 million more than your average quarterback, because he can replace one of those linebackers. He can lift your team. A $10 million linebacker or $10 million offensive lineman or extra money for an offensive lineman like that, I think Aaron Rodgers can replace that with just his arm alone. It's about value. It's about what you think can work. Honestly, if you're not going to sign an elite offensive lineman, you might as well pay your quarterback more just to keep him. You have teams like the Seattle Seahawks and Packers that are pretty much forced to go with these guys. Now, there are going to be teams in the future that say, you know what, we can't pay you because you cannot lift us, and we don't believe that you can lift us to championships with this mediocre talent that we have. But I think for now, you're going to see elite quarterbacks being paid elite money because they can lift your team, and then as they age, they're going to get less and less money as they can't lift their team anymore. So yeah, that's what the implications mean for the Giants. I'm not too sad about them not picking Russell Wilson. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think the Giants should have given up all their picks this year to get Russell Wilson? Let me know what you guys think about the contract, what that means for Russell Wilson's future. Will he eventually go to a different team? Or do you think Russell Wilson's going to land another 4-year contract at 35? Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.